Welcome to Great Souls Remembered. I'm Mark. On this channel, we pay tribute to unforgettable lives that brought meaning, inspiration, and brilliance to the world. From beloved stars to cultural icons, their legacy still lives on. Join us as we remember their stories, honor their impact, and celebrate the memories they left behind. Andy Kershaw was widely known as a radio presenter who brought something different to music broadcasting. Rather than following mainstream trends, he built his reputation on curiosity and independence, introducing audiences to sounds and artists they might never have encountered otherwise. His approach helped reshape how listeners discovered music across cultures. Early life and growing interests. Born on November 9th, 1959, in Littleborough, Kershaw grew up in a structured academic environment, but soon developed his own direction. During his time at the University of Leeds, he became deeply involved in live music culture, helping organize concerts and supporting emerging acts, such as Dire Straits and The Clash. This period shaped his passion for music discovery. Career in broadcasting and global reach. Kershaw gained early recognition through the Old Grey Whistle test before joining BBC Radio 1, where he followed influential broadcasters and developed his own distinctive style. He expanded musical boundaries by sharing African, Caribbean, and folk traditions with wider audiences. His role in Live Aid further highlighted his connection to music on a global stage. Later years and legacy. In his later life, Kershaw faced personal health challenges but continued to return to broadcasting whenever possible. He is remembered for his authenticity, fearless musical exploration, and commitment to giving a platform to underrepresented voices. His legacy lives on through the global sounds he helped bring to mainstream listeners. Davey Lopes was widely respected in Major League Baseball for his speed, sharp instincts, and natural leadership. He passed away at the age of 80 after complications linked to Parkinson's disease, closing a life remembered for resilience, discipline, and excellence on and off the field. Early life and determination. Born on May 3, 1945, in East Providence, Lopes grew up in a hard-working environment where perseverance shaped his outlook. Baseball became his guiding passion early in life. Though he wasn't initially viewed as a top prospect, his steady determination and commitment helped him build the foundation for a remarkable career. Rise in Major League Baseball. Lopes began his professional path with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1968 and made his MLB debut in 1972. Throughout the 1970s, he became known for electrifying base running and consistent performance. Playing alongside teammates Steve Garvey, Ron C., and Bill Russell, he formed part of a legendary infield that defined an era. With over 500 stolen bases, multiple All-Star appearances, and a Gold Glove Award, he showed how speed and intelligence could reshape the game. Strength. Through challenges beyond baseball, Lopes faced significant personal battles. In 2008, he survived prostate cancer, showing strong resilience. After retiring in 1987, he continued his involvement in the sport as a coach, with teams like the Philadelphia Phillies and Washington Nationals, guiding younger players with experience and patience. Lasting legacy. Davey Lopes' impact goes far beyond numbers and records. He changed how base running was understood, inspired future generations, and demonstrated that true greatness is built through perseverance, discipline, and heart. Michael Tilson Thomas, often known as MTT, was an influential American conductor, composer, and educator who passed away at the age of 81 in San Francisco. He died peacefully at home, surrounded by family and close friends. His passing marked the end of a significant chapter in classical music, particularly for the San Francisco Symphony, where he served as music director for 25 years. Illness and final years. He had been living with glioblastoma and aggressive brain cancer since 2021. Even after surgery and treatment, he showed remarkable strength by returning to the podium for special performances. One of his most memorable appearances was a concert celebrating his 81st birthday, which became a deeply emotional moment for musicians and audiences alike. In his final years, he remained connected to music, despite his declining health. Early life and career. Born in 1944 in Los Angeles, he grew up in a family connected to the arts and studied music formally at the University of Southern California. Early in his career, a breakthrough moment came when he stepped in to conduct the Boston Symphony Orchestra, which helped launch his international reputation as a conductor of great promise. San Francisco, Symphony and Legacy. During his long tenure with the San Francisco Symphony, he helped shape it into one of the world's leading orchestras. He supported American composers and expanded the orchestra's reach through recordings and performances that brought classical music to wider audiences. Education and lasting impact. He also helped establish the New World Symphony in Miami Beach, focusing on training young musicians. With numerous recordings and Grammy Awards, his influence extended far beyond the concert hall. His legacy lives on through the musicians he mentored and the audiences he inspired. Michael Tilson Thomas, often known as MTT, was an influential American conductor, composer, and educator who passed away at the age of 81 in San Francisco. He died peacefully at home, surrounded by family and close friends. His passing marked the end of a significant chapter in classical music, particularly for the San Francisco Symphony, where he served as music director for 25 years. Illness and final years. He had been living with glioblastoma and aggressive brain cancer since 2021. Even after surgery and treatment, he showed remarkable strength by returning to the podium for special performances. One of his most memorable appearances was a concert celebrating his 81st birthday, which became a deeply emotional moment for musicians and audiences alike. In his final years, he remained connected to music, despite his declining health. Early life and career. Born in 1944 in Los Angeles, he grew up in a family connected to the arts and studied music formally at the University of Southern California. Early in his career, a breakthrough moment came when he stepped in to conduct the Boston Symphony Orchestra, which helped launch his international reputation as a conductor of great promise. San Francisco, Symphony and Legacy. During his long tenure with the San Francisco Symphony, he helped shape it into one of the world's leading orchestras. He supported American composers and expanded the orchestra's reach through recordings and performances that brought classical music to wider audiences. Education and lasting impact. He also helped establish the New World Symphony in Miami Beach, focusing on training young musicians. With numerous recordings and Grammy Awards, his influence extended far beyond the concert hall. His legacy lives on through the musicians he mentored and the audiences he inspired. Nedra Talley was born on January 27, 1946, in Manhattan. Growing up surrounded by music, she discovered her love for singing at an early age. Along with her cousins Ronnie and Estelle Bennett, she began performing as a teenager, turning childhood dreams into a shared passion for music. Whilst with the Ronettes. In the late 1950s, the group formed what would become the Ronettes, known for their bold style iconic hairstyles, and powerful vocals, they quickly rose to fame. Their songs became radio favorites across America, and they performed to excited crowds worldwide. Even major artists admired them, and they famously opened for the Beatles during their 1966 US tour. Life changes and new direction. Behind the success, challenges within the music industry and management pressures made life difficult. By 1967, Nedra stepped away from the group to focus on a different path. She later embraced Christianity after meeting Scott Ross, choosing a life centered on faith, peace, and family, rather than fame. Later, years and legacy. She continued making music in a new direction, recording faith-inspired songs and releasing the album Full Circle. She also built a family and later worked outside the entertainment industry. In 2007, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony honored the Ronettes for their lasting impact on music. Farewell and remembering. Nedra Talley passed away at the age of 80. Her journey remains a story of talent, transformation, and choosing a life beyond fame. André Rieu is widely known as the musician who brought classical waltz music back into global popular culture, transforming it from a formal concert tradition into a shared emotional experience for millions. Through his violin and the Johann Strauss Orchestra, he revived timeless works like the Blue Danube and Second Waltz, presenting them not only in concert halls, but in stadiums filled with audiences who laugh, cry, and dance together. His approach broke long-standing boundaries between classical performance and popular entertainment, making orchestral music feel accessible again. Rather than treating tradition as something distant or reserved for experts, he turned it into something alive and communal. Over decades, his performances have created a space where music is not just heard but felt collectively, giving audiences a sense of warmth, nostalgia, and unity that continues to define his global legacy. Childhood in a strict musical household. André Rieu was born in Maastricht in 1949, into a deeply disciplined musical family where structure often outweighed emotional warmth. His father, a conductor, maintained strict control over both professional and household life, shaping an environment where precision and obedience were expected. Music was everywhere, but it was not always gentle or expressive. It was controlled and evaluated. For young André, daily life often felt more like rehearsal than childhood, with little space for emotional freedom or casual expression. Expectations were high, and mistakes were treated as failures rather than steps in learning. This environment shaped his early understanding of discipline, but also left him with a quiet emotional distance from approval. Even as a child, he sensed that acceptance was conditional, tied closely to performance and perfection rather than personal expression or natural growth. The first emotional connection to music. Despite the strict environment at home, André's relationship with music changed when he began learning the violin at a young age. His first teacher introduced him not only to technique, but to the emotional depth of sound, allowing him to experience music as something expressive rather than mechanical. This moment became a turning point in his inner world, as he discovered that music could carry warmth, imagination, and personal feeling. Unlike the controlled atmosphere of his household, the violin offered him a space where emotion was not punished, but translated into sound. As he practiced, he began to connect more deeply with melodies, especially waltzes, which felt natural and emotionally open. This early connection planted the foundation for his later artistic direction, where emotional expression would become just as important as technical mastery in his musical identity. Worry, tension between family expectations, and personal vision. As André grew older, his passion for expressive and joyful music increasingly conflicted with his father's traditional expectations. His interest in waltzes and lighter classical forms was seen as too simple or unrefined for serious orchestral standards. This difference in perspective created emotional distance within the family, as André struggled to balance respect for authority with his own artistic instincts. The pressure to conform to strict musical ideals often made him question whether his natural style had a place in the classical world. Over time, this tension deepened into a personal crossroads where he had to choose between following tradition or pursuing a more emotionally open musical path. The conflict was not just artistic, but deeply personal, shaping his understanding of independence and forcing him to define what music truly meant to him beyond external approval. Early career and search for musical freedom. In the early stages of his career, André Rieu performed within traditional orchestral settings, but he often felt limited by their formal structure. Concerts were technically precise, but emotionally restrained, leaving little room for spontaneity or audience connection. This experience gradually led him to reconsider how classical music could be presented to the public. In 1978, he took a decisive step by forming a small ensemble, the precursor to his later orchestra, focusing on accessibility and emotional engagement rather than strict formality. Performing in smaller venues allowed him to connect more directly with audiences, creating an atmosphere where music felt shared rather than observed. This period marked an important shift in his philosophy as he began shaping a vision of classical music that prioritized joy, inclusivity, and emotional openness over rigid tradition. Creation of the Johann Strauss Orchestra. The turning point in André Rieu's career came in 1987 with the formation of the Johann Strauss Orchestra. Starting with a small group of musicians, he aimed to reintroduce the waltz as a vibrant and joyful musical form. The orchestra's early performances were designed to break away from the formal stiffness often associated with classical concerts. Instead, they emphasized warmth, movement, and emotional connection. Audiences responded strongly to this new style, where music felt celebratory rather than distant. This approach was unconventional at the time, especially within classical circles, but it gradually built a loyal global following. Rieu's vision was not to replace tradition, but to make it more human and approachable, allowing audiences of all backgrounds to experience orchestral music as something emotionally engaging and deeply enjoyable. Global breakthrough and stadium performances. A defining moment in André Rieu's global recognition came in 1995 during a major football event in Vienna, where his orchestra performed a waltz to a massive live and broadcast audience. The performance transformed an entire stadium atmosphere as thousands of spectators began moving, clapping, and reacting emotionally to the music. This moment marked a shift in how classical music could be experienced, proving that it could thrive outside traditional concert halls. Following this breakthrough, his popularity expanded rapidly across Europe and beyond, with albums and performances reaching millions of listeners. Stadium concerts, television broadcasts, and international tours turned him into a cultural phenomenon. Despite criticism from traditionalists, audiences embraced his approach, drawn to the emotional accessibility and celebratory nature of his performances, which redefined expectations for classical orchestral music. Criticism, success, and artistic identity. As André Rieu's popularity grew, so did critical debate within the classical music world. Some critics argued that his performances were too theatrical or commercial, while others questioned their place within traditional orchestral standards. However, audience response told a different story, as millions attended concerts and purchased recordings that brought classical music into everyday life. His approach emphasized emotional connection over strict formality, which resonated strongly with listeners who might not otherwise engage with orchestral music. Over time, this contrast between criticism and public appreciation became part of his artistic identity. Rather than responding directly to controversy, Rieu continued focusing on his vision of accessible music. His success demonstrated that classical traditions could evolve without losing their essence, expanding their reach while maintaining emotional depth and artistic integrity. The castle, instruments, and personal meaning. One of the most significant personal spaces in André Rieu's life is his restored 15th century castle in Maastricht, which serves as both home and creative center. Beyond its architectural beauty, the castle represents stability and reflection after decades of constant touring. Inside its walls are rehearsal spaces, recording studios, and gardens that provide a peaceful environment for creativity. He also performs with historic Stradivarius violins, instruments valued not only for their craftsmanship, but for their emotional resonance and history. For Rieu, these instruments are not symbols of status, but tools of expression, carrying centuries of musical heritage. The castle and violins, together, represent continuity between past and present, allowing him to maintain a deep connection to both tradition and personal inspiration while continuing his global musical journey. Health challenges and personal losses. Throughout his later career, André Rieu has faced several health challenges, including episodes of inner ear issues that temporarily affected his balance and performance ability. For a touring musician, such conditions created significant physical and emotional strain, requiring recovery periods and adjustments to performance schedules. In addition to health struggles, he also experienced personal losses, including the passing of close collaborators who had been part of his orchestra for many years. These moments deeply affected him, both personally and artistically, as they were closely tied to his musical journey. Despite these difficulties, he continued performing, adapting his approach to prioritize sustainability and well-being. These experiences added emotional depth to his music, reflecting resilience and the reality that even celebrated careers are shaped by vulnerability and human limitation. Later, life and continuing legacy. In his later years, André Rieu continues to perform internationally, though with a greater emphasis on balance, family, and health. His orchestra remains active and his concerts still attract large audiences across continents, blending tradition with emotional storytelling. Rather than slowing his influence, age has added a reflective quality to his performances, where music carries both celebration and lived experience. His family, particularly his wife and children, play an important role in his musical and professional life, contributing to the continuity of his artistic vision. Today, his legacy is defined not only by popularity, but by transformation. He expanded the reach of classical music to audiences who might never have engaged with it otherwise. His career stands as an example of how tradition can evolve while remaining emotionally powerful and culturally relevant.